night is calm, and I walk slowly across a place I once knew well. Cybertron, my home, stretches before me not in steel or towers, but in meadows bathed in gentle light. You may not imagine such a thing. Vast fields across a world of metal, but they existed, quiet and radiant, where allied grasses swayed under silver skies. Tonight, in memory, I walk there again. I am Optimus Prime yet here. I am not commander, not warrior, not leader. I am simply a traveler on a path of stillness, seeking rest in the quiet hum of the world beneath my feet. The meadows of Cybertron were sanctuaries, places where the noise of cities and the weight of duty softened, and where sparks could breathe freely. The metallic grass shimmered in colors beyond the spectrum of Earth. Golden strands, pale silver blades, soft hues of blue that caught the glow of energon streams running beneath the soil. When the wind moved across those fields, the sound was like a chorus of chimes, delicate and endless. I remember pausing often, just to listen, letting the rhythm wash through me, steady and calm. Above, the skies of Cybertron stretched wide, lit by rivers of starlight flowing through the firmament. At night, the horizon glowed not with darkness, but with faint hues of violet and silver, painted by the energy of the planet itself. In that glow, the meadows seemed alive, as if the very world was breathing softly, carrying each traveler into quiet reflection. I recall walking these paths as Orion packs, long before I carried the name you know. My steps were unhurried, my thoughts free of burden. I would move slowly along winding trails, surrounded by fields that stretched as far as optics could see. Friends often joined me, their voices low, sharing stories of simple days. But many times I walked alone, choosing silence, choosing stillness. For in the meadows, silence was not emptiness. It was presence. There were flowers too, though not like those of Earth. Their petals were crystalline, unfolding in radiant patterns, glowing faintly with energon light. When touched by wind, they gave off tones, soft and harmonious, blending with the sound of the swaying grass. The air carried their resonance across the fields, until it felt as though the entire meadow was singing a song not of words, but of peace. And I found comfort there. The weight of questions, the pull of destiny, the noise of the city, all of it faded when I walked among those fields. Each step seemed to remind me of something deeper. That strength is not only in metal, not only in battle, but in the quiet moments when one chooses to simply be. Now, as I share these memories beneath Earth's stars, I feel the echo of those meadows. Still I invite you to walk with me, in thought and in dream. Imagine the metallic grasses shimmering in silver light. Hear the chime of flowers carried on the wind. Feel the stillness of a world alive. Steady, unhurried. Breathe gently, as if the very air is filled with light. Let the calm of Cybertron's meadows carry you, step by step, into rest. For tonight, there are no battles to fight, no burdens to hold. There is only this walk, this quiet path, this dream of peace. As I walk deeper into memory, the meadows of Cybertron unfold around me like an endless sea. Metallic grasses shimmer softly, each blade catching the light of distant stars. They sway in patterns as the wind moves through them, not chaotically, but with rhythm, like waves on a tranquil ocean, like breath drawn in and released with ease. To walk among them was to be reminded of life's gentler pace, of harmony carried in silence. Beneath the soil ran veins of energon, glowing faintly through the ground. Their light spread upward, casting hues of pale blue and silver across the fields. In the twilight cycles, the entire meadow seemed to glow from within, as though the planet itself was alive and breathing. That glow was never harsh. It was soft, steady, constant. A quiet heartbeat beneath my steps. When the wind moved, the air carried with it a song, not of voices, but of resonance. The grasses chimed against one another, their tones delicate, echoing across the expanse. The crystalline flowers added their own harmony, releasing clear, bell-like notes whenever the breeze touched their petals. Together, these sounds created a music that no single being could compose. Yet every spark who walked it was Cybertron itself, singing to those who listened. I would pause often on those walks. Sometimes I sat at the edge of a glowing stream, watching its light ripple across the surface, reflecting stars above. Other times, I simply stood among the fields, letting the sound of chimes and tones surround me, until my spark felt weightless. It was in those moments I understood that stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness without demand. The meadows held no battles, no debates, no voices raised in division. They held only presence, a reminder that existence was more than duty, more than struggle. It was here that I learned strength is not measured by force, but by patience. It is not found in command, but in quiet understanding. The meadows taught me that to lead is first to listen, to the planet, to the spark within, to the silence that speaks louder than words. Now, as I recall these walks beneath Earth's sky, I feel the same calm settle within me. And I offer it to you. Imagine the grasses shimmering in silver and gold, the flowers glowing with faint blue light. Hear the chorus of tones carried on the wind, each note soft, unhurried. Feel the steady hum of the planet beneath your steps, guiding you gently forward. Breathe slowly, as though you too are walking among those fields. Let each breath be a step, unhurried, easy, full of quiet strength. Allow the image of Cybertron's meadows to carry you, steady and calm, deeper into rest. For in every walk, whether on metal paths or grassy fields, there lies the same truth. Peace is not something we seek at the journey's end. It is found in each step, if only we choose to feel it. The meadows of Cybertron were not only places of solitude, they were also spaces where sparks came together, sharing moments that became part of the rhythm of our world. I remember walking those paths and seeing friends gather beneath the shimmering grasses, their voices low, their sparks glowing softly in the twilight. In the meadows, there was no need for grand speeches, no demand for action, only the ease of presence, the comfort of simply being together. Musicians would sometimes bring their instruments, shaped from resonant alloys and luminous strings. Their tones rose into the night air, blending with the chime of grasses and the gentle ringing of crystalline flowers. The music was never hurried. It unfolded slowly, like the flow of energon beneath the ground. Each note lingered long enough to be felt, not only heard until it became part of the field's own song. To sit there, listening, was to feel as though the entire world was playing in harmony with itself. The younglings often ran freely across the fields, their laughter echoing like bright tones across the landscape. They would chase the glow of firefly like sparks, small, living motes of energy that drifted through the air as twilight deepened. The guardians who watched over them did not call them back quickly. For here, in the meadows, there was no danger, only safety. Only the assurance that the world itself cradled them with calm. Even the elders found peace in the meadows. I remember seeing them sit upon smooth stones at the edge of energon streams, their frames quiet, their optics turned toward the horizon. They spoke less, but their silence was never empty. It was the silence of wisdom, the silence of those who had walked many cycles and found stillness to be the truest companion of all. For myself, the meadows became a place where thought softened into reflection. As Orion packs, I would often wander there after long hours in the Hall of Records. Surrounded by archives, I carried the voices of the past within me. But in the fields, I felt those voices rest. History was no longer weight. It was presence, alive in every blade of grass, in every tone of the wind. The meadows taught me that memory is not only to be preserved in stone and crystal, it is to be lived quietly, in the rhythm of existence itself. I recall one evening in particular. The sky was violet with the glow of the horizon, and friends sat scattered across the field. No one spoke loudly. Some played music. Some simply watched the stars. Others rested with optics dimmed. And yet, though words were few, the connection was strong. We did not need to fill the silence, because the silence itself held us. It carried the song of Cybertron, a lullaby written in metal and light. For in Cybertron's meadows, companionship was never loud, never forced. It was simple. It was presence. And it is that presence I offer you now, as you drift into rest. For many cycle, I believe the meadows of Cybertron would always remain none, untouched. The grasses shimmered, the flowers chimed, the energon streams flowed without interruption. It seemed impossible that such beauty could fade. Yet even in the most peaceful places, whispers of change begin to stir. They do not arrive as storms. They arrive softly, quietly, like shadows at twilight, barely seen, yet impossible to ignore once you notice them. I recall walking through the fields one evening. The wind carried its familiar song, and the glow of the horizon bathed the grasses in silver light. On the surface, nothing had changed. Younglings still played at the edge of the streams. Musicians still drew notes from their luminous strings. But I felt something different, subtle like a pause in the rhythm of a song. A tension, faint but real, lingering in the air. Voices began to shift. Where once conversations were filled with simple stories or laughter, new tones emerged. Sparks questioned why some voices carried more weight than others. They wondered why the meadows, open to all, felt quieter with each cycle. The questions were not loud. They were murmurs. Yet in the stillness of the fields, even murmurs echoed like distant thunder. The meadows themselves seemed to sense it. The grasses swayed as always, but their song was softer, hesitant. The crystalline flowers still chimed in the breeze, but their tones felt lonelier, as if fewer voices were joining the harmony. Even the energon streams, glowing beneath the ground, seemed dimmer than I remembered, their light pulsing with uncertainty. And yet, the field still gave peace. I could still sit among the grasses and feel my spark settle. I could still watch the stars above and hear the chorus of wind and flowers. The presence of harmony was not gone. It was fragile. It trembled like a flame, steady yet threatened, asking for care. myself then that peace would endure, that the questions and murmurs were but fleeting winds, that the meadows with their timeless calm could never truly be touched by discord. I wanted to believe the silence would remain whole, unbroken. Perhaps it was hope. Perhaps it was denial. But as I walked through those fields, I chose to listen only to the chimes, only to the song that still lingered in the air. Now under earth's stars I reflect upon those first whispers. They remind me that peace, no matter how radiant, is never invulnerable. It is precious because it is fragile. And when shadows begin to stretch, peace must be guarded. Not with force, but with presence, with patience, with the quiet choice to nurture harmony, even as it trembles. So let this thought guide you into stillness. Imagine the meadows glowing softly, even as whispers echo faintly beneath their beauty. Feel the grasses sway in rhythm with your breath. Hear the crystalline tones linger gently in the wind. Let them carry you deeper into rest, even as the horizon darkens. For even when shadows stir, peace can still be found in each step, in each breath, in each quiet moment we choose to hold. When I walked through Cybertron's meadows, I came to understand that peace is more than the silence after conflict. It is not merely the absence of battle, it is the presence of harmony, the steady rhythm of sparks beating in unison, the quiet truth that every being belongs. In the glow of those metallic fields, I discovered that peace is both fragile and powerful, both delicate and eternal. As Orion Pax, long before I carried the mantle of Prime, I often thought peace was something given by the world around us. Icon's tower stood tall, the meadows shimmered endlessly. The rivers of Energon pulsed with light. How could peace not be permanent, when everything seemed to promise its eternity? I believed it would last without effort, like the stars themselves, shining without end. But the meadows taught me otherwise. Peace is not something the world provides without end. It is something we choose, step by step, breath by breath. It lives not in the grand symbols of our civilization, but in the smallest gestures, the craftsman patiently shaping metal, the guardian watching over younglings with gentle care, the elder sitting quietly by the stream, teaching not with words, but with presence. Each of these moments was a thread in the fabric of peace. Alone, they seemed ordinary. Together, they wove harmony strong enough to cradle an entire world. Peace is fragile because it can be forgotten. It is fragile because doubt, resentment, and fear can unravel it quickly. Yet fragility does not mean weakness. It means value. A crystal may shatter if dropped, but when held with care, it shines with a beauty nothing else can match. Peace, too, requires that care, that patience, that attention, that choice to nurture rather than neglect. As I walk those fields, I realize that strength is not only measured in battles fought, but in peace preserved. True courage is not in raising one's voice above another, but in listening when silence feels easier. True power is not in conquest, but in kindness offered freely, without demand. These lessons, whispered to me by the meadows, became the foundation of what I carried into the cycles that followed. So as you listen now, let these reflections guide you into calm. Peace is not distant, not unreachable. It is here, in this moment, in your breath, steady and soft, in the rhythm of your heart, strong yet gentle, in the quiet night surrounding you. Let yourself feel it, as though you too are walking through Cybertron's glowing fields. Breathe slowly. Imagine the grasses swaying in rhythm with your breath. Hear the tones of crystalline flowers blending with the wind. Let the meadows remind you, as they reminded me, that peace is not a gift to be received. It is a choice to be lived. And in choosing it, even in memory, we keep it alive. Peace does not break in an instant. It falters slowly, like twilight fading into night. The meadows of Cybertron, once radiant with song, began to carry a silence that was not the silence of rest, but the silence of unease. The grasses still shimmered. The flowers still chimed when touched by the wind. Yet their voices seemed fewer, their tones more fragile. I recall walking there one evening. The sky above glowed faintly violet, Energen rivers pulsing beneath the soil. To my optics, meadows were as beautiful as ever. But to my spark they felt different. The laughter of younglings was less frequent. The gatherings of friends had grown smaller. The music of instruments still rose, but not with the same confidence. The harmony remained, but it trembled, uncertain, as though it knew shadows were drawing near. The whispers I once dismissed had grown louder. In quiet corners of the meadows, voices carried questions with sharper edges. Why must some sparks lit, while others remain unheard? Why should tradition hold sway when change called out more boldly? These questions were not unworthy, yet they were no longer asked with curiosity. They were asked with impatience, with restlessness, with tones that unsettled the calm. Even in the Hall of Records, the weight of division followed me. Scholars debated with urgency, their voices no longer woven together but clashing against one another. The wisdom of the past, carved into walls and etched into crystal, was being stretched into shapes it was never meant to hold. I would leave those halls in search of stillness, hoping the meadows might ease my spark. Yet even there, I could feel the same dissonance echoing through the fields. The metallic grass still swayed, but its song seemed thinner. The crystalline flowers still rang, but their harmony felt lonely. The Energon stream still glowed, but their light flickered faintly, as though reflecting the unease that spread across our world. The meadows, once untouched by worry, were beginning to carry the weight of Cybertron's unrest. And still, I clung to hope. I told myself that peace was strong enough to endure, that the tremors beneath our harmony were but fleeting shadows. I walked slowly through those fields, listening not to the questions or the unease, but to the tones of the flowers, to the hum of Energon, to the faint chimes carried by the wind. For as long as those sounds remained, I believed peace could yet be saved. So breathe with me now. Slowly, calmly imagine the meadows glowing still. Even as silence grows heavier, hear the faint tones of flowers lingering, their song delicate but present. Let the rhythm of your breath join their fragile harmony, carrying you deeper into stillness. For even when harmony falters, fragments of peace remain. And it is in those fragments that rest, can still be found. There comes a moment when peace no longer feels effortless, when its presence must be held carefully, as one holds a crystal that could shatter at the slightest pressure. The meadows of Cybertron reached that moment. Their beauty remained. Their glow still shimmered under silver skies. But beneath the surface, harmony trembled. I walked there at dusk, when the horizon was painted with violet light. The grasses swayed as they always had, but their chimes were faint, scattered. The crystalline flowers still opened their glowing petals, but their tones rang lonelier, carried too far on the wind. Even the energon streams, steady for countless cycles, pulsed with hesitation, their glow no longer constant but uneven, like a heart that falters. The gatherings had grown smaller where once dozens of sparks sat together in gentle conversation. Now only a few remained, speaking in low voices. The laughter of younglings was rarer, their games subdued. Guardians watched them more closely, their optics carrying concern instead of ease. Even the musicians, who once filled the air with slow and steady notes, now played less often. Some instruments lay untouched, their strings silent. The meadows were not empty, but they were quieter. Not the stillness of peace, but the quiet of uncertainty. The silence between tones, the space where harmony hesitated. I felt it in every step, the knowledge that something once whole was now fragile, stretched too thin to last. Yet the meadows still gave what they could, a single flower chiming in the breeze, a ripple of light across a stream, a fragment of music carried softly on the wind. These small gifts reminded me that peace was not gone. It was only fragile, waiting, asking to be nurtured. They taught me that even when harmony falters, its essence lingers, delicate but alive. I remember pausing at the highest ridge overlooking the fields from there. I could see the expanse of grasses glowing faintly, their shimmer uneven yet beautiful. The stars were beginning to emerge, reflected in the metallic petals below. And I thought, this is twilight. Not day, not night, but the edge between them. A place where peace still breathes, though faintly, though trembling. Now, as I share this memory beneath Earth's sky, I realize that twilight is not only an ending, it is also a beginning. It carries both farewell and promise, loss, and hope. The meadows at dusk reminded me that even when peace seems ready to fade, its memory rises brighter, like stars awakening against the dark. So breathe with me now, slowly, gently. Imagine the meadows glowing faintly beneath a twilight sky. Hear the fragile tones of flowers lingering in the breeze. Feel the quiet hum of streams beneath your steps, uneven but steady enough to guide you. Let the image hold you calm and soft, like the final light of day. For at the fragile edge of dusk, peace may falter, but it still remains. And in that fragile peace, we can still find rest. At last, the harmony of Cybertron's meadows could no longer hold. It did not vanish suddenly, like a storm sweeping through, but faded quietly, like the final note of a song, lingering before silence. The grasses still swayed, but their chimes grew faint. The crystalline flowers still opened, but their tones no longer carried across the fields. Even the streams of Energon, once steady and glowing, flickered with hesitation, their light unsteady as shadows, stretched farther across the land. I remember walking there one final time, when the balance of our world was breaking. The meadows remained beautiful, but their calm was fragile, as though the fields themselves were aware of what was coming. The laughter of younglings had grown rare. Friends who once gathered beneath the twilight sky now stood apart. Their voices cautious, their silences heavy. The music of instruments no longer rose above the grasses. What had once been harmony became fragments, pieces of a song, scattered across the wind. Standing at the heart of the fields, I placed my hand upon the metallic soil. I could still feel the hum of Cybertron beneath me, faint, trembling. It was as if the planet itself sighed, holding on to its last breath of peace. I closed my optics, listening. The meadows gave one final gift, a soft chorus carried on the breeze, a blend of tones from flowers, grasses, and streams. It was not as strong as before, but it was enough. A last reminder that harmony, though fragile, had once lived fully here. That memory remains within me, For peace, even when it falls, is never lost. It becomes part of us, carried like a flame in the spark, guiding us through the dark. The meadows may have grown silent, but their song lingers still, in memory, in dream, in the quiet truth that peace once was, and peace can be again. Now under Earth's stars I share this with you, not to bring sorrow but to bring calm. The meadows remind us that even as twilight deepens, beauty remains. Even as harmony falters, fragments of peace linger to guide us. And even when silence falls, memory shines like starlight against the night. So close your eyes, breathe slowly, as though the air itself hums with a gentle song. Imagine the metallic grasses shimmering faintly in the dusk. Picture the crystalline flowers glowing softly, their last notes drifting into the wind. Feel the quiet streams pulsing beneath the soil, carrying their fragile light one final time. Let these images carry you deeper into rest. Let the last song of Cybertron's meadows soothe your thoughts. Steady your breath. Calm your spirit. For though their harmony has faded, its echo remains a lullaby, carried across time and stars. Rest now, dream gently, for in every spark, in every quiet breath, peace still lives, waiting, glowing softly, like the meadows of Cybertron remembered in light.